Are you new to whiskey or just a casual collector but really want to up your game? Well, stay tuned. I got 4 ways to really up your whiskey world. All right, so there are 4 different ways that you can really up your game if you are a basic or new whiskey lover. So, the first thing that you should look at, number one, is look at a whiskey club. And so, most areas have a whiskey club. There are some national whiskey clubs that you can get involved with. So I suggest someone say whiskey or bourbon real talk. These are international clubs, but have a very strong local vibe to them. They each have like little local chapters that you can group up with people in your neighborhood, and you can really talk about and converse about whiskey and whiskey tastings. Plus, it's a great way to get samples from people so you can kind of elevate your experience by tasting new things without actually purchasing. Both of these groups really try to talk about try before you buy, and they are responsible groups. They're not groups that are going to push the envelope of getting drunk or whatever, which some groups do, and they're very positive leaning groups. So they will really try to control some of the negativity, political things out there, the harassing or what we call trolling in the internet. And so they are just a great bond of people. And a lot of people in Someone Say Whiskey are also Bourbon Roll Talk and vice versa. So it makes a very strong family. But there are lots of other groups. I was a member of multiple groups at one time. We got too many, so I had to kind of pare it down. But these groups are a great way to meet friends who have a very nice shared interest in whiskey with you. So, number two, drops. Drops are wonderful places for you to really become more focused on whiskey that you like, but also to meet people, you know, in person. And the drop is usually done at a liquor store every once in a while, and it's an exclusive bottle, usually a single barrel of whiskey, or it could be tequila or whatever. But we're talking whiskey, and or they might have multiple bottles, like allocated bottles. And so you go to these drops. Usually, you go several hours before the store opens. You stand in line to guarantee your place and the ability to buy it, whatever you're there for. But the drops are great places to meet amazing people. Lots of people bring bottles to share, so there'll be like an open bar for everybody um, to to sample. Just really great stuff. I've been to drops where there's been maybe 10 people and half a dozen bottles, because I always bring a few bottles to share with people while we're waiting. And I've been to drops where there's been hundreds of people and literally hundreds of bottles. So um, drops are great places. All you have to do, you can usually find these drops 2 ways. Um, One, through your club that you just joined. They will usually talk about drops, who's going to be there, whatever. And these, like I said, these drops are at liquor stores, but they can also be at distilleries for a distillery exclusive drop. Or you can check your local liquor stores in your area and find out when they are having drops. The smaller the store, probably the more often they have drops, because they're trying to get people. The larger the store, like Goody Goody or Total Wines or Specs or whatever's in your area, probably not going to have the drops that you as often. However, each of those bigger stores will have one day a week where they get allocated. So those, I consider those drops as well. So you need to really get to know your local big store and find out when their allocated days are. So sometimes there'll be a Saturday or a Monday or a Friday, depends. And it doesn't necessarily mean that, we'll take example Total Wines. Total Wine Store A might have their allocated on Friday, The total wine B might be on Wednesday. So you need to really find out when. And they're not always at store opening. They could be midway through the day, like, noon or 2. So you really kind of need to know that. And now these drops are probably not the kind that you're going to bring a bottle for a bottle share because they're post opening. But you're more than welcome to bring a bottle outside and share, usually. But if you're ever in a store, a big box store, and you see a group of people just standing there waiting, looking at liquor, but not really looking at it, then you know there's a line for a drop, and just slide in line and you might get something you really have been wanting to try. 3, barrel clubs. Barrel clubs are the best thing that you should ever get involved with. These are clubs, and usually they might be part of the bigger club that you join, but barrel clubs are usually specific for single barrel clubs. And now barrel clubs are where you can go with a like-minded group of people online, and each month or every 2 months or 3 months, their group, their admins, maybe select members, maybe even you, if you get the opportunity, are able to sample a number of barrels from a distillery and choose one for your group. And these samples can come either via mail. The distillery will send it to the number of people in the sampling group. Mail for you to try, and you get together online and you discuss it and you decide which barrel you want. Or in some cases, you can all meet at the distillery and try it out there. And that's a great thing too. Going to a distillery is just fun to pick out a single barrel. Barrel clubs are very specific and unique. They are single barrels, so they're one of a kind. You'll never get it again. Um, they usually add these things called tater stickers, which are really cool graphic labeling for your bottle that you can put on yourself, or you can just, save them and stick them somewhere else. But they'll be unique to that bottle, and usually they talk about the flavor profile. So they'll talk about cookies or fruits or whatever. But awesome time to go through there and really kind of focus on something unique that not everybody's going to get. Um, the most you'll get out of a single barrel is maybe at very most 250 bottles. Usually it's right around 180 to maybe 210 bottles, depending on the age of the barrel. And it is just a excellent opportunity to get a single bottle of whiskey that nobody else has for you to share with your friends and to maybe start that collection. Now, single barrels are high proof. They can be anywhere from, let's say, maybe 100 to what we call hazmat, over 140. So that's proof. So they can be super high proof. And some people are really into high proof whiskey, and that's all they collect, and that's great. So look at single barrels. And now number 4, we've talked about a little bit off and on, but it is probably one of my favorites, and I hold these at my house all the time. But I've gone to several people's houses for this, and that's the bottle share. And that's where you and your friends or your group that you're a part of, people in your community, your neighborhood maybe, they all bring a bottle of, or 2 or 3 or 4 of their favorite whiskey, or the whiskey that they want to share with you, to a single location, say at your house, and everybody's there. You have some hors d'oeuvres, or you have some sort of popcorn nuts or something, just to kind of give people some food. But you could have a full-blown spread. My wife likes to do a full-blown meal with every bottle share. But you having a wide assortment of whiskey to just try and talk about and socialize. And it's like going to the bar, but not paying the bar fees, not paying for each drink that you get. You have a whole selection. Now, if you take a bottle, you have to be willing to share that. So you may, if it's an exceptional bottle, it may be gone by the end of the night, but it's something that is very enjoyable. I always tell people to bring a bottle that you like. Don't look for what we are interested. Don't look for what I don't have, or something that I would be interested in. Bring something you want to sit and drink. And more than likely, 100% likely, there is somebody of like mind there that's going to want to try your bottle. I try everything that comes in little, pretty much 1/8 ounce pours, because there's so many. So you do, in all of these things, you always should drink um, in moderation and understand your limits. The worst thing about bottle shares is having somebody overdo it and get sick, or um, be inappropriate or something. So bottle shares are something that you really, really want to be at your best in. Drink in very moderation. Bring a cup of your own. I prefer what's called a wee Karen. Uh, it's a little Glencairn, but it's only 3 ounces. And I usually only pour, I'm sorry, did I say three? It's only an ounce and a half. Um, no, it might be three. I'll have to check, because regular Cairns are 6 ounce. But I really pour a very, almost like a cap full of each one. And if I like it, I might pour a little bit more, depending, but it's very minimal. It's really maybe a 1/4 ounce at most. And that way I can try lots of whiskey without getting sick. Because um, you do want to make sure that you are, um, A, not offending people and not getting over drunk and not going to be sick. And B, if you are driving, which you should not be driving, you should do Uber or get a designated driver. My wife likes to go to a lot of these as the DD, or I'll go as a DD while she gets to enjoy. Um, or even my son will go with us. He's almost 30. But you should never drive after these events, and make sure that you are monitoring people in at your house to make sure that they're not overdoing it, or they have a DD. We always have coffee running. But yeah, just bring what you enjoy, and never limit yourself to what you bring. If you like scotch, bring scotch. If you like rye whiskey, bring rye. If you like bourbon or single malts, bring those. If you like vodka, bring those. There's plenty of people there that like vodka. There are a lot of tag-alongs that go to bottle shares, wives, husbands who don't drink whiskey. So we always have a wine available, or we have a full bar of, tequila and whatever for those people who don't like whiskey, because you want everybody to feel included and cared for. So that's the bottle share. That's my favorite. So 4 things that you can really elevate is join a club. They're really easy. Just look for local whiskey clubs in your area. You will meet lots of people. You can meet at restaurants. You can meet at people's houses. You can meet at venues that allow liquor, like parks and stuff that will allow that. But it's a good time to meet other people who are not necessarily within your immediate social group. They will become your social group too. Um, 2, the bottle drops. Bottle drops are great places to pick up unique bottles, usually single barrels. They sometimes have bling or tater stickers or something, but not always. And you get to meet a lot of people who are there for that specific bottle, just like you. And it's also a great way to make connections with the store owner, which is very important when you start getting into wanting specific bottles that are hard to come by, because store owners will definitely cater to known customers who are valued and trusted. 3, the barrel clubs, getting involved in single barrel picks. Um, some of my most amazing times, been over a dozen of these, have had a blast each time. Got to meet new people who become really good friends, trade lots of samples with them and bottle shares with them while we're on the event, and been to very cool places, cool distilleries, but also samples sent to us. So the um, uh, barrel clubs. And then finally the bottle drops, which I think is the culmination of your whiskey um, journey. This is where you've got that whole social group and you're getting to try lots of whiskey, and it's just a great environment and great time, as long as you're drinking in moderation. So those are the 4 things I think you can do to up your whiskey game, so to speak. But you might have some other choices, so make sure you leave those in the comments below. They do um, really add to the conversation, and I read them all. They may not be answered right away. Sometimes it may be a week or two, but I do answer every single comment. I answer personally. So make sure you leave those comments. And again, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. We try to do a video every day, but in the last 6 months, it has been very difficult for me to do videos. For instance, you'll notice my background and my environment. I'm on a cruise ship out in the middle of the ocean. So this particular video will not go up for quite a while because I have no internet or ability to upload it. So it will be in about 2 weeks before we get back. This is a long cruise. And I'm trying to reset myself, um, fresh myself, because it has been such a very difficult journey over the past 6 months, from a transition of working every day to not working because I'm now retired, but also having family issues that I need to take care of, extended family, not internal family. So it's been a long journey for me, and that's why the videos have been really maybe once every week, every 2 weeks, sometimes once a month. Unfortunate for all of that, but make sure you just hit that like and subscribe and let me know that you are still out there, because I definitely am, and I'm here for you. And finally, like, it's early in the morning, so I'm drinking coffee. But remember, in your journey of whiskey, whether you're doing these 4 things I've talked about, or you have others that you want to put in the comments below, remember, there is no bad whiskey. No bad whiskey at all. There's only good whiskey and great whiskey. And I end every line with that because it's the truth. You may not have a palate for it. You may not have a nose for it. You may think it's not a good whiskey, but it's out there and it's got a market and people like it. And just because you don't like it doesn't make it a bad whiskey. So I get people that argue with me there are bad whiskeys. No, there are not. Otherwise, there would not be a market for it. So if you don't like it, for God's sakes, if you don't like it, don't drain pour it. Don't throw it down the drain and just waste your money. Trade it, give it away, leave it for bottle shares for people who do like it, because there are people out there that like it. That's all I have to say. So have a great time. I'm relaxing as I'm headed south towards South America, and then I will be home in about 2 weeks and hopefully rejuvenated and refreshed and doing videos every day. I'm going to try to do videos on the ship all the time. So when I get home and start uploading, you'll be seeing lots of different backgrounds. And usually in the morning when it's quiet on the ship, because this ship, it's my first time on Carnival, has bars every 5 feet. All right, cheers.